In this video, you will watch the story of the most famous serial killer. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. The story begins with a person named Ted Bundy was one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, whose crimes spanned multiple states in the 1970s. His life story and actions have left a chilling mark on criminal history, as he evaded capture for years before being convicted and eventually executed for his brutal murders. Early life and background. Ted Bundy was born on November 24th, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont, to Eleanor Louise Cowell, a young woman who was unmarried at the time. His father was reportedly unknown, and Ted was raised to believe that his grandfather, Sam Cowell, was his father. Ted's true paternity remained a mystery for many years, but later research suggested his biological father might have been a man named Jack Worthington. Ted and his parents received. Bundy had a seemingly normal early childhood, but his family life was complicated. His mother moved him to Tacoma, Washington when he was 4 years old, and he grew up with a stepfather, Johnny Culpepper Bundy, whom he had a strained relationship with. Bundy was described as a quiet and reserved child, and his peers noted his difficulty forming close friendships. But in his late teens, Bundy was an intelligent, ambitious young man. He attended the University of Washington, where he studied psychology and developed a fascination with political activism. He was also known to have a charming personality and appeared attractive to many women, traits he would later use to lure his victims. Bundy's first known crimes. Bundy's first confirmed murder occurred in 1974, but it is believed that his criminal behavior may have started earlier. Throughout his time in Washington, he was linked to a series of disappearances and attacks on young women, particularly those with long hair parted in the middle. His victims often resembled his ex-girlfriend Stephanie Brooks, who had broken up with him, further deepening his sense of rejection. Urban Wild. Bundy's method of operation was meticulous. He would often approach his victims in public places, feigning injury or needing assistance. He would then abduct them, often transporting them to secluded areas where he would assault, torture, and eventually murder them. In some cases, Bundy would return to the crime scenes to further defile the bodies. The first victims linked to Bundy were women in Washington state, such as Linda Ann Healy, who disappeared on January 31, 1974. Soon after, there were more cases in the region, with women found dead or missing under similar circumstances. The expansion of his killing spree. Bundy's murders began to spread across state lines in the mid-1970s. After committing several murders in Washington, he moved to Utah, where he continued to attack women, targeting college students. He was able to evade capture for a long period due to his ability to blend in and appear as an upstanding citizen. Monday. In 1975, Bundy was arrested for the first time in Utah after being pulled over by a police officer who suspected him of being involved in the disappearances. The officer noticed suspicious items in his car, such as ski masks and handcuffs. Bundy was charged with the kidnapping and assault of a woman named Carol Durange, who had narrowly escaped an attempted abduction. Despite his arrest, Bundy was still able to evade justice for a time, trial and conviction. After his arrest in Utah, Bundy was linked to several other murders, thanks to witness testimony, forensic evidence, and the discovery of physical evidence at crime scenes that connected him to the victims. However, his ability to charm and manipulate people was a significant part of his defense strategy. He represented himself during his trials, where he was known for his calm demeanor, courtroom antics, and attempts to discredit the prosecution's evidence. In 1979, Bundy was tried for the murder of two women, Lisa Levy and Margaret Bowman, at Florida State University. These murders were particularly brutal, with the victims being sexually assaulted and killed in their sorority house. Bundy was convicted and sentenced to death. Final years and execution. While on death row, Bundy's personality remained captivating to many, and he even confessed to killing 30 women across several states. Some experts believe the true number of victims may have been higher, as Bundy was known for his ability to manipulate law enforcement and the public. His confessions were chilling, revealing the depth of his sadistic tendencies. In 1989, Bundy's death sentence was carried out by electric chair at Florida State Prison on January 24, 1989. He was 42 years old at the time of his execution. Legacy. Bundy's life and crimes have been the subject of extensive media coverage and academic analysis. His case has been used in criminology and psychology studies as he exhibited many traits associated with a classic serial killer, including a history of violent fantasies, a need for control, and the ability to blend in with society. His charming persona and manipulative behavior made it difficult for many to believe he could be capable of such horrors, adding to the shock of his eventual conviction. His crimes left a deep scar in the communities he terrorized, and his story remains a chilling example of the dangers of underestimating the potential darkness in human nature. Bundy's legacy continues to be a cautionary tale about the manipulation, deception, and danger posed by individuals who appear outwardly ordinary but harbor a monstrous inner reality. His crimes left a deep scar in the communities he terrorized, and his story remains a chilling example of the dangers of underestimating the potential darkness in human nature. Bundy's legacy continues to be a cautionary tale about the manipulation, deception, and danger posed by individuals who appear outwardly ordinary but harbor a monstrous inner reality. Psychological profile and behavior. Ted Bundy's psychological profile has been widely studied due to his ability to manipulate those around him. He was often described as intelligent, articulate, and charming, which enabled him to blend in with society and gain trust from his victims. Bundy had a degree in psychology and understood human behavior, which he used to his advantage during both his crimes and trials. Experts believe that Bundy had many characteristics of a psychopath, including a lack of empathy, an overwhelming need for control, and a fascination with power. He was known to be highly organized in his killings, often planning them meticulously, which is typical of organized serial killers. However, some of his crimes also displayed characteristics of disorganized killers, particularly when he became more reckless and erratic as his murders continued. He often assaulted his victims, leaving them dead or disfigured, and in some cases he would return to the bodies to engage in necrophilic behavior. It's presumed that he did this to get people's pornography, even though he's not a sex worker. Ted Bundy's time on the run. Bundy's ability to evade capture for so long was due in part to his skillful ability to blend into society. After his arrest in Utah in 1975, Bundy was transferred to Colorado, where he was held for his kidnapping and assault charges. However, he managed to escape twice from custody, further extending his killing spree. Escape from Utah. In June 1977, Bundy escaped from a Colorado jail by jumping out of a library window and stealing a car. He fled to Florida, where he continued his murder spree, culminating in the brutal murders of 2 women in Tallahassee at Florida State University in January 1978. These killings were particularly violent, and they set off a manhunt for Bundy. So, escape from Colorado. Bundy's second escape occurred in December 1977, when he was being held in a Colorado jail after his first escape. Bundy was able to make a hole in the ceiling of his cell and once again managed to escape into the wilderness. He hitchhiked across several states, continuing his spree and causing a nationwide panic. Manipulation during the trial. Bundy's ability to manipulate people extended into his trial. Despite being caught and facing serious charges, he portrayed himself as the victim of a miscarriage of justice. He used his intelligence and courtroom skills to represent himself during parts of his trials. Bundy frequently made eye contact with the jury, appeared calm and confident, and would sometimes cross-examine witnesses, attempting to discredit the evidence against him. His charm and intelligence created a sense of confusion among those who didn't suspect him of the horrific crimes he had committed. This made his eventual conviction even more shocking to the public. Bundy's relationship with his girlfriend Elizabeth Klepper. Another significant aspect of Bundy's life was his relationship with Elizabeth Klepfer, a woman he met in the 1960s. Klepfer described Bundy as charismatic and deeply loving at times, but also as a person who hid his dark side. She later revealed that she had suspicions about Bundy's involvement in the disappearances of young women, but had difficulty believing that he was capable of such violence. Klepfer had a difficult relationship with Bundy, torn between love and suspicion. She was initially in denial about his crimes, but eventually came to believe he was responsible for the murders. In her memoir, The Phantom Prince, My Life with Ted Bundy, Klepfer described the emotional turmoil of being in a relationship with him and how she eventually contacted the police. Despite her suspicions, she had a hard time coming to terms with the reality of Bundy's actions until he was arrested. Bundy's confessions and final days. Before his execution, Bundy began to confess to more murders, though many believe he never fully revealed the extent of his crimes. In 1989, as his execution date neared, he confessed to around 30 murders across 7 states, but some investigators think the true number could be higher. These confessions came after years of denial, as Bundy had previously refused to admit any guilt, claiming he was innocent even after his convictions. Bundy's final confession was a last-ditch effort to delay his execution. He provided graphic and detailed accounts of how he selected and murdered his victims, even admitting to cannibalistic tendencies in some cases. His chilling descriptions showed his lack of remorse, and many believe he used these confessions as a way to prolong his life, knowing that death was inevitable. There's such an impact and legacy. Ted Bundy's legacy continues to shape how the public views serial killers and criminal psychology. His ability to hide in plain sight and charm people made him one of the most frightening criminals in history. He has become the subject of numerous documentaries, books, and films, all examining his complex psychological profile, his manipulative tactics, and the horrific nature of his crimes. Cultural impact. Bundy's case has inspired numerous media representations. One of the most well-known is the 2019 film Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, which starred Zac Efron as Bundy. The film focuses on Bundy's relationship with Elizabeth Klepfer and highlights the public's fascination with his charm and intelligence despite his horrific actions. The public's mixed perception of Bundy as both a charming man and a brutal killer has led to ongoing discussions about the psychology of serial killers and the dangers of underestimating them based on their outward appearances. The Ted Bundy effect on law enforcement and crime investigation. Bundy's case prompted significant changes in how law enforcement approaches serial crimes. During his spree, investigators across various states began to recognize similarities in the cases, particularly in the way Bundy targeted young women and the method of his attacks. Bundy's use of the charming and approachable persona led to the development of behavioral profiling in criminal investigations, which became crucial in identifying future serial killers. Additionally, Bundy's case led to the improvement of law enforcement's ability to share information across state lines, resulting in the eventual development of national databases and more effective coordination between agencies when dealing with serial crimes. Final thoughts. Bundy remains a symbol of how even the most seemingly ordinary individuals can harbor dark, violent tendencies. His case continues to be an object of fascination not only because of the horrific nature of his crimes, but also because of his ability to deceive and manipulate those around him. His legacy serves as a chilling reminder of the capacity for evil in even the most unexpected individuals and the importance of recognizing dangerous behavior, no matter how well hidden it may be.